It's facelift season. We've reviewed so many facelifts over the past couple of months, and here's a new one. This is the new GLE facelift. There's a couple of updates. Obviously, the styling is a bit refreshed. You've got more equipment on the inside and you've got mild hybrid drivetrains. Welcome to Evo India and welcome to our quick review of the new GLE facelift. Before we go ahead, make sure you subscribe to Evo India, like this video if you like it, and leave a comment down below. Do you like the new face of the GLE? We're talking about styling. Obviously the face has gotten a refresh. You've got this star element in the grille on the 450s. You've got multi-beam LEDs and you've got the AMG line body kit. Fewer changes on the side. You've got massive 20-inch wheels, but honestly they don't look that massive in these even more massive wheel arches on the GLE. You've also got this iconic sloping C-pillar that's been there since the first ML that continues on this facelift of the GLE. At the rear, you got minor updates as well. The tail lamps are slightly different, the bumpers are slightly different, and this AMG line gets a unique diffuser bumper. Now, let's head inside and see what the interior updates are. Let's talk about the interiors now, and in terms of the layout, actually not too much has changed. Nothing has changed, really. You've got the same 12.3-inch twin screens in front of you, really high res. You see them across the Mercedes-Benz range now. This steering wheel specific to the AMG line, and it's got these touch controls on the steering wheel. I really like the wheel. The only issue is sometimes when I'm turning the wheel and my hand brushes against the volume controls, it sends the volume really high, or sometimes it mutes it because I've just brushed it and made contact unintentionally. Apart from that, really nice open pore wood finish all over the dash and the center console. Feels really expensive. You've got the new trackpad layout and all that Mercedes-Benz does. Hard controls for the AC, which is really cool. The big changes on the inside are on the equipment front. You get a lot more standard equipment than before. For example, you get interior ambient lighting that's identical to the S-Class, so the same color palettes and all of that. You get an air purifier as standard. You get the Burmester audio system as standard, and you also get 9 airbags as standard on the GLE now. The 450s, the 450 and the 450D, get some additional equipment over the standard car. So you get a perfume dispenser. The perfume is held in the dash over here in the glove box, and then you can dispense the perfume through the HVAC system. You also get a head-up display. You get climate seats, so cool and heated seats. On the outside, you also get air suspension 20-inch wheels and the multi-beam LED headlamps. Those are exclusive to the 450s. A lot of people will be spending time in the rear seat of the GLE, and it's actually not a bad place to be. Tons of room. As you can see, I've got lots of knee room, headroom plenty as well, but it's the features here that make it really nice. So you've got 4-zone climate control in the back. You've got electrically controlled sun blinds. You've got electrically controlled seats. A lot of people in the team said that the rear back recline angle is not enough for them, but I think it's okay. You're good enough here. And you've got these really soft neck pillows, stuff that you get in the S-Class, now in the GLE. You've also got this really substantial center armrest. This place would normally house a tablet, but here is just a rubberized tray for your knickknacks. You've also got a little storage compartment in here with USB ports. Overall, really comfortable back seat on the GLE. Okay, new Mercedes-Benz GLE. What's it like to drive? Well, first up, let's talk engines. GLE 450, it gets a 3-liter 6-cylinder straight 6 engine, 376 bhp, 500 Nm of torque. What you also need to know is that all engines in the GLE range, they're all mild hybrids now, which means you get an integrated starter motor generator which gives you an additional 20 bhp and 200 Nm. This is essentially torque fill, so when the turbo is not fully spooled up, where there are gaps in the torque curve, the electric motor fills in a little bit of torque, gives it a little bit of a boost. You also get, well, the ability to harvest energy back under braking to improve efficiency a little bit. But now, what's this engine like? Honestly, I love it. I think it's a beautiful engine, suits the GLE really nicely. It's not, well, it's not exactly like a diesel engine in that it's got this low down grunty torque which you can just ride at low RPMs. It's an engine that likes to rev. You can rev it out really strong. Redline is at more than 6,500 RPM, so you can really rev it out, and it's got this really wide, meaty power band, you know, between 2,500 and whatever 5,500, 6,000 RPM. You've got this strong shove of torque, so keep it in there. The engine's on the boil, the turbo's spooled up, and you can really move. It sounds great too. Straight six, really creamy, smooth, refined sound, slightly sporty as well. It's very refreshing in an SUV like this to have an engine with this character, and it just feels very energetic, if you know what I mean. 0 to 100 times are 5.6 seconds, which is really impressive for a big heavy car like the GLE. So that should give you an idea of how quick it actually feels. In terms of the transmission, 9-speed automatic, refined, smooth, quiet, comfortable in most cases, absolutely perfect. You know, in the city it works really, really well, shifting between gears, keeping you in the lowest gear possible without having you struggling for torque. So for the most part, the gearbox works really well. When you do need a kickdown as well, it'll give it to you, so it's not hesitant to go to a lower gear, give you better acceleration. It's a really well done drivetrain. Also, you've got all-wheel drive, so no drama when it comes to acceleration. Now let's talk about the chassis. 450s, whether it's the 450D or the 450 petrol, both get air suspension. And how does it feel? Well, honestly, the GLE, it's a bit firmly sprung. When you're going over bad roads, you will feel a little bit of it in the cabin. Over really sharp bumps, there is a firm edge to the ride. That's due to the big wheels. You've got 20 inches on these. You've got really high profile tires as well. But you can still feel a firm edge to the larger bumps. And even on smaller, more uneven roads which don't have really big bumps, you feel a lot of that transferring into the cabin. There's a fair bit of jiggle at low speeds. So suppose you're crawling through traffic and the road's not the most perfect, you will feel it jiggle around a little bit, just this side to side, up and down, forward pitching movement, which is a bit unnerving. The good thing is when you pick up speed, the GLE really evens out the roads much better. It's at low speed that it just feels a little firm. So now when I'm driving along at a decent clip, it actually does a good job of dealing with our roads. Then there's the handling. Handling's also not bad. You know, because of the suspension being so firm, you actually have really good body control. You have a chassis that feels dynamically sound. You can chuck it into corners, it grips. You've got massive fat tires, so front end grip is good. Traction out of bends is good. The roll, well, it does exist obviously because this is a big fat SUV, but it's very well controlled and it doesn't feel too scary. You can place the car well at speed. Now, what I don't like is the fact that it does not have a dynamic mode, which means I can't weigh up my steering, I can't get better throttle responses, I can't get a more aggressive gearbox. So the standard setting, the comfort setting, is all you're going to get with the GLE. You do get in eco mode, which will dull it down a little bit, and you get an off-road mode, which, well, sets up the car for off-road driving and also puts up your off-road information on the screen. But who's really going to take their GLE off-road, honestly? I would have liked to see a dynamic mode with a little bit of adjustability in terms of just how I can set up the car with its steering, suspension, drivetrain, etc. You've got this king of the road feeling that many big SUVs try to give, but not all of them deliver. And the GLE is one of them that really delivers on that front. You feel like you're in something really big and special. Overall, I think the GLE drives reasonably well. I really like the engine. I really like the performance. That performance will obviously give fuel economy a hit. We've had about 6.3 kilometers per litre since this morning's start. But the ride quality is firm. So if you're looking for outright comfort, I'd say, well, take a test drive in this before you make your final decision. In handling, well, it is very competent. So overall, the GLE is a step up from the older one, mainly on the equipment front. That's where the big changes are. But even to drive, it feels very competent. It feels very sound. There's only one problem for the GLE, and it's called the BMW X5. The BMW X5 directly competes with the Mercedes-Benz GLE. GLE prices, they start at rupees 96.4 lakhs ex-showroom. The GLE 450, this particular car, is rupees 1.1 crores ex-showroom, and the 450D is rupees 1.15 crores. At those prices, the GLE is slightly more expensive than the BMW X5. If I was putting my money down for one, I would pick the X5 simply because it's a more involving driving experience. But the GLE is almost there in terms of the driving experience and in terms of comfort, but it does a really good job with the in-cabin experience, the lavishness and the level of equipment on offer. So it's up to you. Do you want a great driving SUV? Maybe the X5 is the car to go for, but in other regards, in terms of the luxury quotient, the GLE definitely hits the spot.